Welcome back to KidLogic Labs. I'm Leanne, and you're in the Emotion Lab. Today, we're heading somewhere exciting and a little dangerous. We're studying volcanoes, the giant mountains that explode. And while we're talking about volcanoes, we're also learning about anger. Because believe it or not, anger and volcanoes have a lot in common. Now, before we get started, step into the lab, take a big, deep breath in, and let your curiosity turn on. When most people think about volcanoes, they think about lava, but volcanoes actually begin deep underground. Underneath the Earth's surface is hot, melted rock called magma. When magma gets trapped underground, pressure starts to build and build and build. The pressure builds very slowly over time, sometimes for months, sometimes for years, sometimes even longer. Have you ever had one bad thing happen? Maybe someone took your turn, or your tower fell over and somebody laughed, and then suddenly you felt really, really angry, like you might erupt? That can happen because anger often builds up from lots of little things, which is kind of like the pressure building underneath a volcano. Scientists who study volcanoes are called volcanologists. Volcanologists watch volcanoes for clues. They don't just wait for an eruption, they look for warning signs. Sometimes the ground shakes. Sometimes gases escape. Sometimes the ground starts to swell. Those clues tell scientists something is happening down there. Guess what? Our bodies give us clues too. Before we explode with anger, our body usually gives us warning signs. Maybe your fists get tight. Maybe your face feels hot and you start to sweat, or your heart beats faster. Maybe your thoughts start sounding like, this isn't fair, or everything's ruined. Those are warning signs that our anger is starting to build. If you notice your body signs early, you can use those skills to help yourself calm down before you erupt. Now, we've already practiced deep breathing quite a bit, so today we're going to learn a new skill called pause, think, choose. Everyone say it with me. Pause, think, choose. Sometimes anger gets bigger because of the thoughts that we have. Imagine you worked really hard on a drawing. Then someone accidentally bumps into it. Your brain might think, they did that on purpose. And that thought makes anger grow fast. But what if we paused and thought, maybe it was an accident? That feels different. The situation is exactly the same, but the thought has changed. And that can change what happens next. I think it's time to create our model volcano. I'm going to use a plastic Erlenmeyer flask because it's already volcano shaped, but you can use a plastic bottle, a jar, or anything else to contain the liquid. Then I'm going to use Play-Doh to make the shape of the volcano. Any type of modeling dough will do. Are you ready? Let's get started. First, I'm going to build up the outside layer to give it its nice volcano-y shape. Here it is. I love it. This looks like so much fun. Are you ready to start our experiment? Here's what you need. vinegar, baking soda, some warm water, a funnel to help guide the ingredients into our volcano, dish soap to make it a little extra bubbly. Food coloring is optional, but can also be fun. And then you need a spoon to stir it all up. Our baking soda is acting like magma. I'll be mixing in warm water to help create a bigger reaction. Warmth makes the molecules move faster, which in turn makes the reaction occur faster. Then the vinegar is going to help create an eruption. When these ingredients mix together, they create a gas called carbon dioxide. Tiny bubbles form very quickly. Those bubbles need space. When lots of gas forms at once, everything rushes upward, just like pressure escaping from a volcano. So, what do you think will happen? Tiny eruption? Huge eruption? No eruption? Make your prediction now. Here we go. First, I'm going to add a bit of dish soap. Next, a few drops of food coloring. I'm going to use some green and some blue. Now, be careful, this can stain. If you're following along at home, place something under your volcano or take this experiment outside. Now, I'm going to add the warm water to the baking soda. I'll be using 1 part baking soda to 1 part water. Mix, mix, mix. The warm water is really going to help this baking soda dissolve. Okay, it's going to go in there now. Finally, I'm going to pour in the vinegar. Are you ready? Here we go. Whoa! Look at that! The pressure escaped all at once and the volcano exploded everywhere, making a giant mess. We can make a big mess too when we let our feelings get out of control. Now, here's something important. Volcanoes don't choose when pressure builds, just like we don't choose when anger shows up. Anger is just a feeling, and all feelings are allowed, but we can choose what happens next. Let's practice. Scenario 1. Your game freezes right before you win. Pause. What thought might make your anger grow? Maybe something like, this is the worst day ever. Now, let's think for a moment. What thought might help? You could think to yourself, this is so frustrating, but I can try again. Think you got it? Let's try another. Say someone bumps into you. Your initial angry thought could be, they did that on purpose. But what if you thought to yourself, maybe it was an accident? Now, what if your little brother knocks over your tower? An angry thought might be, he always ruins everything. But what if we choose to think, I'm a good builder, I can fix it? That feels so much better, doesn't it? Let's explore this some more. We aren't pretending everything's okay by changing the way we think about something. Sometimes things really are unfair. Sometimes things really are frustrating. Sometimes people make mistakes that hurt our feelings, and sometimes things don't go the way we hope they would. And yes, sometimes we really are angry. But being angry isn't wrong. Anger's just a feeling. Just like excitement's a feeling. Just like sadness is a feeling. Just like worry's a feeling. Feelings aren't good or bad. They're information. They're clues that help us understand what's happening inside. The goal isn't to make anger disappear. The goal is to understand what anger is trying to tell us. Maybe it's telling us that something feels unfair. Maybe it's telling us that something's important to us. Maybe it's telling us that we need help solving a problem. That's why we use pause, think, choose. Not because our feelings are wrong, but because our feelings are powerful. And when feelings get really big, our brain sometimes jumps to conclusions. We might think they did it on purpose, or nobody likes me, or everything's ruined, even when those thoughts aren't completely true. Pause, think, choose helps us slow down long enough to ask, is there another way to look at this? And when we do that, we give our brain more information, and more information helps us make better choices. Instead of erupting like a volcano, we can use our thinking brain to decide what to do next. Today we learned that volcanoes erupt because pressure builds underground. We learned that volcanologists look for clues before eruptions happen. And we learned that our bodies give us clues before anger erupts too. Most importantly, we learned that thoughts can either add fuel to our volcano or help us make a better choice. This week, I have a challenge for you. The next time you notice anger showing up, try this. Pause, think, choose. Ask yourself, what is my brain telling me right now? And is there another way to think about this? You might be surprised how much that helps. Thank you so much for spending time with me in the lab today. Now take what you learned, notice how you feel, and we'll see you next time at KidLogic Labs. See you next time.
Thanks again for joining us in the lab. If you had fun learning with us today, give this video a thumbs up and ask a grown-up to subscribe so you can come back to the lab for more experiments, crafts, and adventures.